She put a pot on she hair and gone. Them a the first one out on the dam. Basket on she head, bucket in each hand. Hold up on she frock, I wanna she grandson. To the market, them a go. For the morning, the day is dawning. For cock-a-crow to give the villagers a warning. Rise and shine, the birds them a sing. All animal take turn as them join in the waking. Cock-a-crow, dagaba, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duck a quack. Cock-a-crow, dagaba, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duck a quack. Come and hear this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country. All day a back down, me now a come home. The naga jackass yard for fetchy load. Cockle shy hand, bag over shoulder, running by his side, a Rexy and Rover. From the farm, them a come. Sun a go down but up the river. Some washing clothes, some folks are bathing at the water. Fisherman, they catch them a bring. From a canoe boat, man, them start offloading. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Lokonani. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Bangameri. Listen to this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country.
All right, hey, guess what? Lots of things happening in Guyana. Lots and lots of things. It seems as though the creeping dictatorship is raising its head and being brave about it by instructing members of the Guyana police force to arrest and harass peaceful protesters. Good afternoon. It's just 36 minutes after 12 o'clock. Something has got to be done because we cannot allow history to repeat itself. And those of you who know the way that the PPP operates in terms of its brutality against citizens, especially peaceful protesters, we are seeing signs of that. And the signs that we are seeing, it is not nice. It's dangerous, and it has to be nipped in the bud almost immediately. So do share the link. Let people know that we're on live. And for those of you who are listening to us on the ground via 107.1 FM, good afternoon to all of you. Even though it's not the best of a day, a good afternoon for many of you in Guyana. First of all, we heard of the arrest of over 17, maybe 20 plus persons have been arrested, not because they have committed any crime, not because they have committed any fraud or whatever, but because they chose to exercise their constitutional right, which is the freedom to assemble, as part of our constitution right to assemble, right? And they have done so peacefully. Yet the PPP, the goons in the PPP, have sent members of the Guyana police force to arrest individuals. We're hearing word that part of those who were arrested is Aubrey Norton, the executive member of the People's National Congress Reform. He has been arrested. We don't know what is the status, whether he has been released. We don't know why he was arrested, but all we can say is that he was out there standing up with the people who were exercising, like I have said, their democratic right to a peaceful protest. They have that right to assemble. And the PPP, however, doesn't believe in democracy. They don't believe in those sort of rights. And that is what they do. They send their goons, and I say that, in the Guyana police force to arrest and harass people. But it's got to stop. As the song goes, this time a long time, right? And again, there was no justifiable reason or cause for them to arrest those persons who were standing up and voicing their opinions. Mind you, one of them being Aubrey Norton. Folks have been asking whether they have been released as yet. I'm not sure whether they have been released, but we will try to get information as soon as possible, because we want to keep you informed as to whether those individuals have been freed or not. And so during the course of this broadcast, if we are able to get in touch with some folks, we will try to get in touch with them. Let us find out from Mr. Aubrey Norton. Aubrey, you're actually live on the air. Can you give us a quick update as to what's happening?
Well, essentially what happened this morning is that Guyanese were out in the square. The police were plenty in numbers and out there. I was heading on Regent Street coming towards the protest when a female, I think she looked like an inspector, pointed me out and told them to arrest me. When she attempted to arrest me, some of the people who were there came around and I asked them what they were arresting me for. They never said anything. Anyhow, we went into the vehicle, we came to Breakdown. And Breakdown, they claimed that we violated COVID protocols. Well, I've long argued that they use COVID as a tool of repression. And I pointed out to them, one, I had on a mask. Two, nobody was close to me, so I can be accused of not social distancing. And three, if you're talking about illegal possession, I was on Regent Street while the possession is on. It was evident that they set out to arrest me regardless of where I was. So that is the situation. We are now waiting on the commander to determine exactly what will happen.
Okay, so you guys are still at Brigham. They have you there on the bench.
Yes, we're still at Brigham.
About how many?
16,
Sorry.
me and 16 others.
16 others.
16 others.
Yeah. Aubrey Norton is there. He's sitting on the bench at Brigham. And have they told you guys what they have arrested y'all for?
They claim violation of COVID and illegal possession.
Wow. I don't know. Like you said, they said that they're waiting on the commander to make a decision. I don't know what sort of decision that the commander can make, but we have on the line, we are losing him. In fact, we have lost him, but we have on the line with us Aubrey Norton. Mr. Aubrey Norton, you heard there for yourselves. He's currently at the Brigham police station. He's at the Brigham police station along with 16 other persons. They were picked up. They were grabbed. They were picked up and they are arrested. They are currently at Brigham. So you look, if I had my way and if I were there in Guyana on the ground, I would have been walking straight to Brigham also. Because, at the end of the day, Brigham police lockup, what is it? They can hold about 15 or 20. I know at one point they had like about 100 of us in there. Do you think they can hold 1,000 or 2,000 plus persons? I don't know what's happening, but that's just a suggestion, an idea that's going through my mind. That why don't they just arrest everyone, thousands of people? Because again, I'm saying if I had my way, and I was actually there on the ground, I would have been walking straight to Brigham police station, straight in front of Brigham police station. And if thousands of persons do that, what do you think can happen? What do you think can happen? Are they going to arrest all the thousands of individuals and put them in the lockups? Is that what you think they're going to do? I don't think they're going to do that at all. So you cannot have the PPP to disrespect your leaders, your political leaders, regardless of what. You cannot have them disrespecting citizens, peaceful protesters, and then for them to believe that it's going to be business as usual. I don't know, folks on the ground who are listening to this here, the IPAS must stop. Imagine they picked these guys up. Nothing really happened. These guys weren't protesting. They weren't beating people up. They weren't being violent in any ways, but they set the police to arrest these individuals. What they do? They pointed out Aubrey Norton. They saw Aubrey Norton in that crowd, and they said, look him there, grab him. So they grabbed him. And now let me explain. Let me explain what this is. It's a big plan. It's a plan by the PPP to divert attention from the bigger problems that we have in Guyana. And in diverting the attention, they grab Aubrey Norton. They're going to grab some other leaders and so forth. They're going to arrest them in order to divert attention, in order to rile the people up. And then when the people are riled up, when the people become frustrated, then the PPP are going to lose their goons. They're going to pay thugs to go into those peaceful protests, those peaceful marches, and those paid thugs are going to create problems. And when those paid thugs create problems, the PPP now will use that to say, look at these hooligans, look at these thugs, look at what they're doing. They're robbing people, they're burning stuff down, and all these different things. That is how the PPP operates. And that is exactly what they're attempting to do at this point in time. So, the leadership of the coalition, they gotta be careful with this PPP strategy. We have seen it before, we have experienced it before, we know what it's like. And so at this time, their back is against the wall. The PPP's back is against the wall. They're afraid because the international community is seeing Guyana for what it is. It is being governed by a bunch of hooligans, a bunch of racist individuals who don't give a damn about certain people, and individuals who don't give a damn about Guyana. It is what it is. You've heard Aubrey Norton there sitting at Brickdam Police Station on the bench. And let me describe what the bench is like for you guys. It is when you walk in, place I'm familiar with on dozens of occasions. So you walk in there, they put you on the bench to sit down. Either they may handcuff you or they may put shackles on you, depending on who you are. And knowing the type of persons that they have arrested, looking all like Aubrey Norton, I am sure that they got them, they have them in foot shackles, handcuffs, and probably put some muzzle over their mouths as well. That is exactly how the PPP operates. All right, I'm going to look at some of your comments, but at the end of the day, this has to stop. One way or the other, it has got to stop. And the prayers, praying and praying and praying and praying, yes, it works. Prayer works, yes, but we need more than just prayers, because if people don't get up and stand up for their rights, guess what's going to happen? The PPP will continue to disrespect citizens, disrespect supporters of the coalition. And at some point in time, it has got to stop. We're still trying to get in touch with maybe some other folks who are sorry. Yep, we are going to try to get in touch with some folks. Sorry about that, a little bit of distraction. We spoke with Aubrey Norton just a few minutes ago. We are going to try to get some comments, maybe if we get in touch with the acting opposition leader for a quick comment in terms of the arrest and arrest of not only Aubrey Norton, but 16 other persons. We'll be more than happy to get in touch with the acting opposition leader, Mr. Roysdale Ford. All right, so we will, like I've said, this is why we're doing this show, so that we can inform you guys as to what is happening on the ground in that beautiful, beautiful country. Peaceful protesters, people are protesting. They have a concern about the vaccine, and they are exercising their constitutional rights in a peaceful manner. And here it is, in that peaceful manner, they have been arrested. They have been poked into a truck, a police truck, and right now 16 or 17 of them are sitting on the bench at the Brickdam police station. Like I've said, we are going to try to get in touch with some folks. We need some answers. I'm not sure if we are able to get in touch with some of the police, the senior policemen and women at the Brickdam police station, but our executive producer will try to see what's going to happen. So, okay, so sorry about that. Yeah, we will try to see what's going to come out of that. So the other part, in case you're now joining us, Aubrey Norton and about 16 other persons have been arrested, And so, yeah, they have been arrested. So, yeah, whilst I'm talking with you guys, I'm a little bit distracted, so forgive me. We want to give you guys the real deal. We want to get some of you to remember and to understand that this is exactly how the PPP operates, right? This is how they operate, that they send police officers to arrest the leaders, individuals that they suspect to be leaders or individuals that they know that can get the crowd out there. And so Aubrey Norton was probably walking in the corner, minding his own business, and being there with the people on the ground. And the police decided to point him out and say, we're going to arrest him. And you know that came directly from either Freedom House or Office of the President. That is how those things operate. Many of you know that is precisely what has happened. And at the end of the day, we cannot sit down and continue to allow the PPP to disrespect and violate people's rights the way that they are doing it. Now, I'm told that there are some folks in front of Brickdam Police Station. For those of you who are listening, whether you are in Guyana, or if you are in Guyana, in Georgetown, it'll be nice for you to take a nice peaceful. I'm not saying that anybody should be violent in any way, because we don't speak that here on 107.1 FM. But they can take a peaceful walk down to Brickdam Police Station to stand up, to observe, to ensure that they don't harm those people that they have arrested, just to keep a watch on them. Nothing is wrong with walking in the corner, to head down there so that you can keep a peaceful watch, a peaceful eye on what is happening in there. And maybe you can sing some hymns, and maybe you can pray as well. What are they going to lock you guys up for? Praying? What exactly are they going to lock you guys up for? Chanting? They can't. And if they lock 10 more up, if they lock 1,000 up, where are they going to put the 1,000 folks? Look, do not be afraid. I'm saying again, do not be afraid of these people. If you are afraid, and the minute that you show them that you are afraid, that is when they are going to move in for the kill. And when you're afraid, they're going to start to arrest your leaders. They're going to start to beat peaceful protesters, and they're going to start to send their phantom squad. That is how, not bullies, but that is how people like the PPP, that is exactly how they operate. But this must be nipped in the bud. Do not be afraid of their private security, those private security firms with their big fancy guns and how they love to show off and these things. Don't be afraid. The entire world is watching Guyana right now as to what is happening. Do not be bullied. Now, the issue is possibly, I'm sure, there are more than one issues as to why people are protesting out there. Some are protesting because of the forced vaccination. People don't want to be forced to take things, right? And I have an issue. I have an issue with being forced for things. I am not against the vaccine. And the leaders of the coalition have said this time and time, that they are not against the vaccine, but it should be people's right to be vaccinated or not. And one of the things that the PPP is actually doing is whenever someone dies, they want you guys to know that that person or those persons have taken the vaccine, have not taken the vaccine. And so because they have not taken the vaccine, they have died. That's what the PPP wants you guys to believe, right? But there are folks, I know of cases where folks who took the vaccine and they have died also right there in Guyana. A case that I learned this morning, a good friend of mine, we were in school together on the quarantine, Ernest Alert from Port Moran Village, Port Morant on the quarantine. He took the vaccine, but his wife explained to me this morning, and he died this morning, complications, possible COVID-19. But he took both doses of the Sputnik V. This is no propaganda. And the wife said, and this is what is interesting. The wife said that her husband took both doses of the Sputnik V. But when he took the first dose, guess what? It wasn't until over 2 months, probably approaching 3 months, that he took the second dose of Sputnik V. Because when he was going at the stipulated time to take his second dose, guess what? He was told that they don't have the second dose. They don't have the second dose. They don't have the second dose. And that's the problem. Because if you have to take the second dose of a vaccine, and in this case, it's the Sputnik V, and the Sputnik V was not available at that time, and then 1 month or a month and a half after, it is still not available, it simply means that over 2 months, going on 3 months, that person, Ernest Alert, and I know there's scores of other persons who would have taken months before they had the second dose of the Sputnik. And so what the regime has to come out and tell people is what has happened with that second dose of the vaccine. In fact, that has caused a lot of problems in Guyana right now with people being suspicious of the vaccine. Now, I know of a lot of people who want to take the vaccine or vaccines that are WHO approved, but the government, the regime, has to blame itself for this controversy, for this crisis that we are seeing developing in Guyana. It is their fault. It is their responsibility from the beginning to ensure that there's proper literature and proper PR to speak about this vaccine issue. But instead, what has happened, they got basically the middleman. And you all know the middleman. And that's why I'm saying that Irfan Ali and his crew, they have to accept responsibility for what is happening in Guyana right now with the vaccine. They have to accept responsibility for what is happening with the vaccine. Now, let us go back under the coalition time in office. We saw all these things. We never saw truckloads upon truckloads of police going there to harass anybody or anything. And I'm not saying that that should have been the case. We are not seeing that. We haven't seen that. Look at this. Protesters. Oh, this is a different form of protest where the police intimidate them as well. But when the cane cutters, sugar workers were protesting under the coalition, we never saw van loads of police swooping down and arresting people and all these things. We never saw that. But look, this reminds us of those dark days, right? You all know when this vehicle was purchased for about 30 million Guyana dollars. 30 million Guyana dollars. And look what they did. These are the folks, and this is the vehicle that the PPP sent out to harass, to intimidate, to beat, to arrest, and possibly torture. This is what the PPP does. And what I'm saying here, what I'm seeing here is an exact example, of what is to come. We cannot sleep on this issue at all, what is to come. Now, heading back to the vaccine, the problem, and I want to repeat what is happening, and very slowly. The problem right now with the vaccine in Guyana is as a result of what the PPP has done. And what is that they have done? Well, the Sputnik V vaccine, which is not WHO approved, I repeat, the Sputnik V vaccine, which is not WHO approved, guess what? They now, the PPP, entered into an agreement, possibly hundreds of millions of dollars, an agreement with a middleman, and that middleman is some sheik or whatever, sits somewhere in Dubai or wherever, and he is the one, his company, they are the middleman. Now, we don't know whether this Sputnik V is coming directly from Russia or it is some counter Sputnik V. But what we also know is that the Sputnik V that Irfan Ali and his crew ordered through this middleman took months before we got a second dose in Guyana. And what happened when persons took the first dose? Do you think almost 3 months after the first dose that this second dose will be effective? I doubt that. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I don't want to spread that sort of misinformation, but I'm simply using common sense, that if the stipulated time for the second dose should be around 31 days or something, somewhere thereabout, then why did it take double the amount or time and a half the amount for those people to get the second dose of the Sputnik V? So now when the PPP now jumps up and they want to tell you guys that, look, somebody has died and that person was unvaccinated, it is a scam. Here why it's a scam. They want to prove to you guys that, look, only unvaccinated persons are dying. And that is not true. There are folks who are vaccinated and who have been infected with the virus and have died with the virus as well, even though they have been vaccinated. There are cases in Guyana. But most of those cases, based on my research, mind you, most of those cases of persons who have fell ill with the coronavirus and who have been fully vaccinated have been vaccinated with Sputnik V. Sputnik V. And here is what the problem is. If you received your first dose of the Sputnik V and took over 2.5 months, maybe 3 months before you get your second dose, could be. Let the PPP, let Dr. Frank Anthony and those folks explain to you what happened and whether that is the reason why persons who have been vaccinated, mainly fully vaccinated mainly with the Sputnik V, whether that's the reason why persons are becoming infected and whether why persons are dying. They have to speak on that. And now if you're now joining us, Aubrey Norton and about 16 other persons have been arrested. We spoke with Aubrey Norton just a few minutes ago. He's at the Brigdam lockup, in the Brigdam police station on the bench, sitting on the bench, that infamous bench where they bring people up, they rung people up, and they dump them on that bench. I hope those folks who are in that crowded area, those 16 persons who have been kidnapped, including Aubrey Norton, who were kidnapped by members of the Guyana police force. We'll try to get some word from someone, maybe someone in the Guyana police force as to what's happening. And or maybe we'll try to reach back someone else, one of the leaders of the coalition. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
She put a pot on she hair and gone. Them a the first one out on the dam. Basket on she head, bucket in each hand. Hold up on she frock, I wanna she grandson. To the market, them a go. For the morning, the day is dawning. For cockcrow to give the villagers a warning. Rise and shine, the birds them a sing. All animal take turn as them join in the waking. Cockcrow, dagabag, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duck a quack. Cockcrow, dagabag, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duck a quack. Come and hear this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country. All day a back down, me now a come home. The naga jackass yard for fetchy load. Cockle shy hand, bag over shoulder, running by his side, a Rexy and Rover. From the farm, them a come.
All right, I know there are lots of other live feeds and so forth. The last information there is that those 16, including Aubrey Norton, 17 persons, are still sitting on that filthy bench in Brigdam police station there, waiting on word from high up as to whether to release them or not. But here is what's going to happen. I'll be surprised if they are released on their own recognizance, because the PPP wants to send a message. And part of that message is to divert attention from what is happening in the country, the corruption, the racism, the persecution of scores of people. So here's what may very well play out. They may want to slap them with some charges. Like I said, I'll be surprised. I will be surprised if they're actually released just like that without any charge. The PPP, they believe, those PPP folks believe that they own Guyana. And that's their problem. And when they believe that they own Guyana, is they feel nobody should have a voice. No one should have a voice other than the PPP, right? They're the only ones who can speak. They're the only ones who know. They're the only ones who know about democracy. They're the only ones who should be allowed to speak or exercise freedom of speech. They're the only ones who can protest. And anybody who is of African descent hit the streets. Guess what? They're called all sorts of things: thugs and goons and hungry belly and all these sort of things. We have seen it. We have heard it. We know what is happening. And we should not sit down and allow these things to happen at all. And so we got somebody wants to call who is upset about this situation. George, good evening. You're live. What is your take on the harassing of peaceful protesters and the arrest of Aubrey Norton and dumping these guys in Brigdam police station? What is your take on that, sir?
Is with the majority of masses. It's downright disrespectful. And it's time that people start acting accordingly.
Yeah, and you feel that the people should come out in their numbers because enough is enough.
Of course, and the people should go down to Brigdam police station right now, this minute, and demand the release of Mr. Aubrey Norton and all the others that have been arrested. People should be sit there and listen to the program, go down and get involved. Because if we don't change this, we're going to be in chains behind this. Because the PPP is downright disrespectful and they don't give a damn about nobody. The Indians, nor the black, all they give about is themselves and their cronies and their criminal on the world that they continue to fund, maintain, to drive fear into the masses. People are not afraid anymore. It's time to rise up. And as they want to push back more hard. Shut the bridges, shut the airport, shut down the commerce, shut down the market. Because you can't force nobody to push everything into the one arms. WHO, the whole COVID situation is not clear. Because if you get in vaccination and you still coming down with COVID, what is the sense of taking the vaccine? Vaccine is supposed to be preventative. Or it should be a cure. It's neither nor. It's either neither or. We don't know what it is. And for people to continue taking these vaccines, let me go to an example. The Boston vaccines from Russia through some middleman named Atumbo or whatever his name is. The vaccine, we don't know what came for us. No, they can't give documentation to show a chain of command of these vaccines. The follow-up dose supposed to be administrated within 6 to 8 weeks after the first dose. The first dose passed in excess of 2 months, and the people didn't get the second dose. Everybody come to explain to the people by not having the second dose on time, what effect the first dose has on your body, they never get that. They don't care. And if you have a government that is not caring, you can't care for them. If you have a government that's walking you into colonialism, you have a right to resist by all means necessary. And I, as an ordinary person, I'm calling my brothers and sisters to stand up. Stand up and defend yourself, because your body is yourself. You can't have a washed up government, a catfish government, tell you what to put in your arm when they can't even verify what they give you in their arm. They are not taking it. Why should they force you to take it? And the nurses should not be afraid, because everyone gets sick, everyone needs a nurses, and the nurses should be treated with utmost respect and paid accordingly
Well, what is?
Time that people rise up and stand up for what they believe is possible. Die for what you believe.
What is your take on the operation, the attitude of the police who are grabbing and arresting these individuals?
Well, when it comes to the police, they have a long history of extrajudicial killing and do not carry out the dirty work of the PPP. So I expect nothing different of the police. There's no surprises coming from the police because we know what it does. The only statement left to go right back now is it's coming death squad all over again. There are not police officers. There's an arm of the state that is being funded and directed by the PPP. Now, so the people should have no respect for the police. We know the police are going around, but the police that are law-abiding police officers that work in the interest of the people, we respect those officers. All the others that doing the PPP bidding, we have no respect for them. We have no respect for them. We should not respect them. They're not police officers. They are agents and treat them as such.
All right, George, all the way from Belladrum. Thank you so much for calling. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you so much.
All right. You've heard there from that contributor all the way from Belladrum. Belladrum is in Guyana, where the Mingos are from. Good evening to all the folks in Belladrum. And it's a sad situation, what is happening in Guyana. They have arrested 17 persons, Aubrey Norton included in that. I'm told that the lawyers are currently at the police station to find out exactly what's the reason that those folks have been arrested. You cannot just see people who are walking on the streets and just grab them like that. So they saw Aubrey Norton and these 16 other persons, probably because they're looking like people who the PPP is known for targeting. And so they have decided to arrest them. And the reason why the PPP would want to arrest individuals, including Aubrey Norton, is to divert attention from what is actually happening on the ground, what is actually happening in Guyana. The PPP is known for diverting attention, and that is what they want. They want people to get riled up. They want people to be distracted from the whole host of problems that they have. The billions of dollars in corruption of the cash grant for the COVID-19 cash grant, billions of dollars of corruption. It's a corrupt scheme, massive corruption that is happening there. And so all of these things that we are witnessing right now is a form of diversion. That is precisely the type of politics. So they feel that if they arrest Aubrey Norton and others, that people are going to get riled up and they're going to forget about the other things, the massive corruption. They're going to forget about their pink slips that they've been given months ago. They're going to forget about the cash grant that they're giving to only friends of the PPP. That is what they're doing, and cronies of the PPP and concubines of those so-called ministers of the PPP. That is exactly what is happening. And even our PPP brothers and sisters, those who would have voted for this catfish regime, people who would have voted for them, are also going through this sort of victimization. So this is not just about the coalition supporters. This is also about supporters of the PPP who don't like what is happening. And so, with the arrest of Aubrey Norton and 16 others, it shows that the PPP have not changed its color. They're back to their true colors, but they've got to be stopped, and have to be stopped by every and any legal means necessary. And I agree with that caller who said that persons should peacefully march down to the Brickdam police station. Let me check some of your comments out. I see there's a Vincent Cornelson. Good evening. Sounds like a military name there, Cornelson. Mr. Cornelson is saying, what is Mr. Cornelson saying? And these same police, men, women, run like hell at Bath Settlement even hiding under bottom houses. Yep, we all do remember that. They seem to be brave only to go after certain people, and we know who those certain people are. Renee Mackenzie Talbot, how are you doing? It said, good afternoon. I heard she's saying she heard Mr. Aubrey Norton was arrested. Yep, Aubrey and 16 other persons were arrested. We spoke with Mr. Aubrey Norton earlier. He claimed that they're on the bench at Brickdam Police Station, awaiting word from the commander to decide on what to do. Now, we all understand how that operates, right? If the commander gets a call from maybe Robeson Ben or maybe from Irfan Ali, we don't know. If that happens, then guess what? Well, we are told that Mr. Norton was released, but we don't just want to hear that Mr. Norton was released. We want to hear that all of the folks were released. That is exactly what we want to hear. Everyone was released. So I don't know if that is the case. We'll have to get word from on the ground, our executive producer, one of them on the ground, to find out exactly whether it was just Aubrey Norton who was released or others were released as well. Yeah, we want to know. Aubrey, we heard that you have been released. We heard that you have been released.
Yeah. Yes, they have released me and charged me for unlawful possession. Going to court Friday morning, they say.
What
I don't bother with the COVID anymore. I know why they choose.
What about the others? Have the others been released too?
All of them, I'm waiting on them to come out.
Okay, and
I'm waiting on
you guys have been released on your own recognizance, right?
Well, we had to pay 10,000 bail, but everybody has been there.
Wow, Aubrey, we will talk later. I know it's crowded here. Thank you so much. Glad that you're free. Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
All right, let's go back. Let's go through this again. And this is going back what I said in the beginning, how the PPP operates. They're going to arrest these guys. They know they're going to look for a high-profile individual. And they kidnapped Aubrey Norton and 16 others. Now, the diversion is basically this. They're going to charge them, which is what I said. They will charge them. They will put them on bail, which is exactly what happened. And they're going to give them a date when to appear in court. So you heard from Aubrey. He walked out with $10,000 bail, right? Charged with unlawful protest. And now have to turn up in court on Friday. I don't know. You know, Aubrey got out of there. But I'm concerned about the other folks who are still in there. Are they able to make their bail? That's the question. Are they able to make their bail? $10,000 at this time is a heck of a lot of money. Here is where the leadership of the coalition comes in. And the lawyers who are part of the coalition team, they should ensure that all those persons are out on bail. $10,000 bail. One of those businessmen or women that are supporters of the coalition should head down there to ensure that those persons are out on bail as well. Lots of things happening in that country. And you can't say that I didn't tell y'all how the PPP operates, right? That's exactly what. I would have been surprised if they let them out on their own recognizance. I would have been surprised. But knowing how these vagabonds operate, they basically didn't surprise me. J.R. Crawford, are you surprised at all as to what's happening? Good afternoon.
No, I'm not surprised at the way the PPP operates, but, you know, they're stupid to, you know, take RB downtown. Once you take RB, you're going to create a firestorm. And, you know, when their supporters were protesting them up here in Region 6, nobody arrested anybody. So you're seeing the one-sidedness, and they're blatantly showing the international community that supported them in their illegal ascent to office, that they don't have respect for anybody that subscribes to the coalition. When you see these things happening, they're going to create, or in my mind, they're looking for a hostile situation for some strange reason, thinking that it would be on their favor, but they wouldn't. No, those folks are protesting peacefully we have a right to do whatever we want with our bodies. They weren't being disrespectful. Why are you going to send police there? And then the funny thing, they send all black police to do that crazy nonsense.
And that's how they usually do. That's how they usually do it. There's that's the PPP's trademark, and we all could read them at least.
The police need to stand their ground and say, "Listen, this is infringing of human rights, and we are putting ourselves out there as a untrustworthy entity. We are not going to go."
Well, Aubrey has to.
Sometimes Aubrey, if they start to interfere with Aubrey, Mark, you and I both know there's going to be a big backlash coming. We all know what it is.
Well, if once they interfere with folks within the leadership of the coalition, I think that they ought to be the same amount of backlash. Sorry,
Right.
but what I'm expecting is that when all these folks have to head to court on Friday. All the other, because those 16 other persons we need to stand up for them as well, right? That when all of them appear,
we need to see all the party bigwigs throw their weight behind Mr. Norton and the 16 other people that was there.
Yeah, because those are the ordinary folks who also put their lives at risk, and we have to be able to support them. Go out there in full force and support them as well. A lot of them probably still are in the Brookdam lockups. Police station. They don't have $10,000 for bail, and I do hope that that is what the party is currently arranging so that these individuals can be out as well.
Right,
not just.
I don't see the reason why the police have to charge demand monies in this particular incident. They didn't commit any crime. They were peacefully protesting there, which they are given from under the Constitution. Let the damn people go, and if you want them in court, which is going to be thrown out anyway, send them home ROR. Why is it that you have to fleece these people? You are already stripping them of their dignity and their right to assemble, and now you're going into their pockets.
Well, that is what the PPP does. They don't care, and they want confrontation. Well, the people are saying if it's confrontation they want, well, it's confrontation they will get. Because
you know what's going to happen? They're going to have the confrontation from the coalition, and they're also going to have it from their voters, because you have the cane cutters now grumbling. They're going to work for 7 days a week for $15,000. Well, they voted for the PPP, most of them. So then take what you get. They're going to decide to start a rebel. So the PPP are going to have their hands full. Their own is going to turn back and chase them out of office.
Well, that is sometimes the case. We hope that is the case very, very soon. But the disrespect of coalition supporters, persons of African descent, when they protest, we see the different treatment that they get. And for $10,000 bail for what? An illegal procession? There is no illegal procession. There's no evidence of that. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. But it's a one. Yeah, 1 sec. That is true. But what we're seeing there is quite evident that this is a political order to place them. And I wouldn't be surprised if it came directly from Ropes and Ben to directly place these people on bail.
Right. And it's stupid. Why are you going to force them to pay $10,000? You know that you don't have a leg to stand on in court. Because all those folks that are illegally arrested could turn back and come to sue the police. They didn't breach any order. It was their given right under the Constitution for them to assemble.
All right, JR, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, my brother.
Good. JR Crawford there giving his view on the situation, his opinion on the situation. Let me break this thing down for you guys as kind of like an expert, kind of like in semi-retirement when it comes to these things. Don't be fooled. The PPP can be read. You can read them inside out. And even those who write in their columns and are fully in support of the PPP and their propaganda and their evil works, we know who those individuals are, right? They're right in their columns and so forth. And they make this thing look as though they are so concerned about democracy. They're concerned about human rights. And some of them give the impression as they're the only one who they're the only ones who are so concerned about democracy and human rights, that they're the only ones who have been fighting, that they are the only ones who deserve X, Y, and Z, that they're the only ones who grew up poor. You know what I mean? We know who they are, right? But let us look at it from this standpoint. The PPP doesn't have any respect for Black folks in Guyana. And that is a fact. They may jump up and put Mark Phillips and put somebody else and say, look at what we're doing. We believe in unity. But they don't believe in unity. They don't respect democracy. They don't respect the Constitution. They don't respect the people of the country. So we have the situation with oil fine. Billions of dollars. We're not seeing any money, not any crumbs or nothing we're seeing. 50,000 jobs they promised. Air Finale promised 50,000 jobs. Where's the 50,000 jobs? They promised reduction of, the value-added tax, something they have increased to 16% when they were in office. GPL is in crisis. Look, every single minute of the day, they have blackouts upon blackouts upon blackouts upon blackouts, right? You have people who are being persecuted on trumped-up charges. You have this song and dance about rigged elections and SOPs. We're not hearing anything about that these days, mind you. Nothing about the SOPs, even though they have their writers in columns want to talk about SOPs, and that if benchcaps see the SOPs, I don't want to see SOPs that the PPP is circulating around to their friends in the media houses and so forth. I don't want to see those sort of SOPs, right? So those sort of SOPs wouldn't convince me that the PPP won the elections free and square or whatever. No, I don't want to be convinced by what the PPP says. I'm not. But, there are people who write in their columns. They seem to be caught up with the PPP now, and everything the PPP says and does, they believe in the PPP, and they write about the PPP when there's crisis. Let me continue. At GCOM, the Guyana Elections Commission, big problems there. Right? They don't have a chief elections officer. They don't have a deputy elections officer, sorry. They don't have those things, right? And so they want to create and put their own people, stock their own folks up there so that they can continue to do what they were doing all along when they have, at that time they had, Dudnat Singh was the chairman. They had Steve Surge Bali was the chairman. Now they have Claudette Singh. They're very good friends. And mind you, when some of those columnists do write, they give the impression that they so love Claudette Singh. The very Claudette Singh that they were against and they were fighting and they were disrespecting, and her life was threatened and all these sort of things. It was happening. But suddenly, Claudette Singh is someone that they love. They love Claudette Singh. This very Claudette Singh. Look at what appeared in the newspaper. Those columnists, you know what I mean? They weren't writing about these sort of vulgar stuff and racist and sexist stuff. They weren't writing about that at all. They love that. But suddenly they would give you the impression that they so love Claudette Singh. So be careful. I noticed one individual is pushing for a gentleman by the name of Vishnu Prasad and how he was wronged and all these different things. And so this columnist now, the columnist is writing and saying that Vishnu Prasad, an injustice meted out to him and he should be given his job back and all these. Mind you, nobody else went through any sort of injustice against the PPP for all those folks who have lost their lives and were incarcerated and all these different things. There's no injustice. One man who, because of an application, a woman who happens to be a Black woman, Roxanne Myers, she got the nod. And so right now it's discrimination. It was an injustice against Vishnu Prasad because of his ethnicity, right? Not because of qualifications or whatever. Look, all these things that we're seeing right now, the arrest of Aubrey Norton and the 16 others, it's a distraction, a PPP distraction. That is how it works. And with the arrest of these individuals, here, let me break it down for you guys, what the PPP say. Get into their minds, because Jack Deo and his cronies, they're not smart people. You could read them if you sit down and you study them. You could read them inside out. And I say this because I wouldn't be surprised if Jack Deo calls a press conference tomorrow or by Wednesday. I wouldn't be surprised at that at all, because he's been very, very quiet. Very quiet. Now, let me break this down for you. They feel as though They know that this protest is going to increase. The crowd's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And it's going to hurt them and those members of the Private Sector Commission economically, hurt them in their pockets. They are aware of that. So they're finding a way now to fight back. And here's what. They want to drive fear into people's heart and their minds. Do not be afraid of the PPP. Do not. Hear why. So they arrested 16 persons, including 17 persons, including Aubrey Norton, and they placed them on bail. They placed them on bail, right? Guess what? $10,000 bail, because they know that those individuals, most of them probably cannot afford $10,000 bail. And so when they're there, they're trying to break the people's spirit. When they break the people's spirit now by this, when the people who are arrested get frustrated that, oh, look, we get arrested and we're fighting for the coalition, and the coalition didn't even send no liar for we. They only pay for Aubrey Norton, and Aubrey Norton walk out of there, and look, we still in here. And that's when some of the PPP guys are going to walk in and say, you see what I tell you? Y'all don't fight for these people. Y'all fighting for them, and they don't care about y'all, right? They left y'all right here. That is why it is important that the coalition bail those people too. And that those people have lawyers from the coalition, not lawyers that they got to go and push their hands in their pocket and pay and these sort of things. Pro bono, free. Pro bono, right? Free. Pro bono. All those persons and the people who are standing in front of Brigdam Police Station should not walk away now only because Aubrey Norton was free. And Aubrey said something which is good, and I agree with him, that they are still in front of Brigdam Station waiting for the others to be freed as well. That's good. I hope nobody walks away there until the last of the 17 persons walk out of there free. And now, because if that doesn't happen, that is when, if that doesn't happen, I see some of the trench crappos there, and these kinds of programs, right? These kind of programs, it hurts the trench crappos them. So they don't know how to communicate. They just don't know how to communicate. They think this is a rum shop where you sit down and you drink rum and you cuss up and you ball up and all kind of thing. And then when you're done ball up, you sing your song. And then when you sing your song, you start wind up on Mati. This is not the kind of show for that. They have other shows for those sort of things. Go on the other side and listen to Critic. Listen to them. Is them kind of rum shop shows. This is not a rum shop show. This is a real show. Real show. We don't behave like that. If you can't have a proper discussion, you can't make proper sense when you comment, because I know your bumps raised, the truth hurts, you guys get tickled, and you know what happens when y'all get tickled, right? Good. So go on the rum shop types of kind of programs. Not here. This is like a classroom program where you learn, right? And even if we disagree with each other, guess what? We agree to disagree in a very respectful and dignified way. There are some of you out there don't agree with everything that I say, but they don't curse me out. Look at Precious Mineral and these other folks. You think Precious Mineral agrees with everything I say? And no, she doesn't. But look how they behave. Civilized. Terry Weeks. Good. Well, it's afternoon in the UK there, right? It's afternoon here as well. Look at how Terry Weeks behave, man. Civilized. But when the trench crapper come, they come with sometimes you don't even understand what they say. It's like, what? At 1:32 in the afternoon and you're drunk already? I don't know. Terry Weeks, you're right. Give them the donkey. This is for all of the trench crappos. That is exactly what we have to do with these folks, man. It's like they don't know better. Arresting people, placing them on bail. And look, I'm speaking to you guys from experience, understanding how that that regime operates. Let me get on to Branford Burke. Branford, I noticed that your blood is boiling up, man. What's going on, my friend?
Good day, Mark. My blood has to be boiling, Mark, because we are living in perilous times, and it seems as though many Guyanese are not woke as yet to the fact that the ship is sinking, and if you don't prevent it from sinking, everybody's going to go down with it.
But the sign is there. The signs have been there a while now. The only thing is that they're getting braver and braver every day.
And that's because the people are allowing them to get braver and braver every day. The people should stand up. You know, like I keep saying, the government is the people, and the people have a group of persons who are given the responsibility of managing the affairs of the country. And if the people who are managing mess up, then the people ought to get rid of them. We're not saying that it should be violent, but we're saying that the Constitution provides the means by which you can get rid of any group that you put there or that is put there and you don't like what they're doing.
Exactly. And but this arrest with the 17 persons, including Aubrey Norton, those of us who understand the mindset of the PPP, we know that it was a deliberate act to divert attention from other serious issues in the country. Correct?
Yes, sir. And interestingly enough, while doing so, they're committing serious breaches of the Constitution in relation to people's personal rights and basic human rights, because I was listening to a press brief by Darren Wade a few moments ago, and I heard him indicating to the folk that the police at Brigham have indicated to him that they're not going to be dealing with any they're not going to be having any discussion on the matter of bail for Mr. Norton and the others who were illegally arrested a while ago, until and unless the protest action at the Square of the Revolution, which they are monitoring, is concluded or brought an end. That is dictatorship at its hilt.
Dictatorship indeed, but we're glad that they have actually been released. They're out on $10,000 bail. I don't know if all of the folks have been released, but Aubrey just spoke and he said that he's awaiting the release of all the others. Let us hope that all the others can afford $10,000 bail, just like Aubrey walked out of there with his $10,000 bail paid. I'm not sure what's the situation on the ground, but maybe I'll get back in touch with someone there at Brigham Police Station to find out. Are you nervous?
My fear though, Mr. Bishop, is not the people being afforded or being able to afford the bail. My problem is the strategy or the tactic being employed by the government in using their Gestapo agents to enforce their dictatorial policies. That is ridiculous, and I figure that we should have the folk on the ground identify the police elements. I'm not saying every member of the police force is a rogue element.
Sure.
There are some members of the police force who have indicated clearly that they are not in support of the actions being taken and they don't follow those instructions necessarily. But then the woman who were arrested pointed out and instructed that Mr. Norton should be arrested, for example. She should be identified and called out publicly, regardless of race, religion, or creed. I mean, like, that is dictatorship at its best, and dictatorship being enforced by the Gestapo elements of the Guyana police force in support of the regime.
All right, Branford Burke, thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it. Let me congratulate you. You got a son-in-law in your family now. We will be keeping an eye on him.
Thank you very much, sir.
And also on a serious note, I heard that a relative of yours passed away. Condolences from all of us here at 107.1 FM.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Mr. Branford Burke. Appreciate it there. All right. So I'm looking at some of your comments. We know what's happening in Linden. In Linden, with this whole what is it? The situation with the shutdown in Linden seem to be taking a lot of having a lot of support. Sorry, and the PPP doesn't like that. So with the arrest of Aubrey Norton and others, again I repeat, it is basically to divert attention from what is happening throughout the country. Sugar workers are upset. Farmers are upset. All farmers are upset. People are upset. Teachers are upset. Is Mr. London, are you upset, sir? Good afternoon.
I'm most upset.
What is happening? Give us a quick rundown, sir. I'm catching people off guard with a phone call for a quick comment. Two things I need your comment on. 17 persons have been arrested in Georgetown for nothing at all. One of them being Aubrey Norton, who was just released on $10,000 bail, and he has to appear in court on Friday. What is your take on this recent development, sir?
It is most disheartening, it is upsetting and angry, because I cannot understand why an individual in Guyana has lost their right to walk the street in protest. And even if it's not in protest, it seems that there's a perception that whoever is walking the street is walking there in protest. But even if it is, we seem to have disintegrated the situation in which the Constitution no longer exists in Guyana. We have got constitutional liberties, and they have not, the minority, been removed by any act of law or passage in the assembly. So this is mind-boggling. It is, again, I say, angering, because although I do not represent political parties, I represent what is right. It is totally unjust for anyone to be arrested for walking in the street saying it is my body, my choice. Are we really going to this place whereby we are a true dictatorial state? I thought that the PPP Civic were accusing Granger of being a dictator, but it seems that they're now empowered to show him what dictatorship looks like.
Exactly. We're seeing evidence of that. These people have a history of doing just that. Do you think this arrest and harassing of individuals out there in Georgetown is to divert attention from some of the serious problems we have in the country?
Most definitely. And this is one occasion where we're trying to think the way that these leaders are thinking, if they're still leaders, by the way. It's obvious that they want to divert the attention away from what is happening, which is people are displeased with the manner in which the policies of the vaccine are being handled, the manner in which persons are being unjustly treated in reference to having to pay for testing and so on. And these actions now that has been ramped up certainly are going to cause some degree of what I would hope not, but some degree of unrest, because people react now to this in a manner that really we're trying to avoid for quite a while. So this must be an effort to just say, okay, then yes, people are becoming unruly, people are being disruptive, so we have to just quash everything and crush it.
Can you give us a rundown as to what's happening in Linden? I know you were doing a couple of lives earlier and showing the place is kind of like a ghost town. People just sitting at home and they're cooperating, which is good. And you did indicate that it's peaceful, and this is how protest, another form of protest. What is it like in Linden now?
Yes, in Linden, the persons of the residents here, we have stayed in our homes for the greater part. Transportation services, including the ferry services, have all been shut down completely. The vast majority, overwhelming majority of businesses have closed their doors because the decision has been made that we're going to have an economic protest, more than one in which we're in the street physically today. And it is certainly hit home, because money is not flowing around the town and the economy. And obviously that's going to hurt. In reference to banks gauge as well, that one of the organizations, the businesses who would have advertised that we need to have a PCR test or have a vaccine to buy a loaf of bread if possible. I'm told that they're not even business. I was there and nothing was happening. Absolute complete shutdown. And anybody knows where Region 10 and Linden, the truck for banks comes to Linden about 3 to 4 days a week with liquor and stuff and beverages. And today there's absolutely nothing happening because as residents of Linden, as the people, and hearing from the people, we intend to shut things down completely until we respected and treated with some degree of regard. So Linden is an absolute lockdown. The 2 gas stations here are closed. Nothing is happening literally in the region.
Absolutely nothing on the line. We have all the way in Linden, Apostle Nigel London, no stranger to you guys here on 107.1 FM. And you say absolutely nothing, including the schools have also been shut down, sir?
For the greater part, I've seen most of the schools that are closed. If they're open, I do not see much activity because parents have also kept their children at home. If the listeners, and thank you for having me again, the listeners should be informed that Regma Primary School here in Region 10 had to be closed because a child or a cleaner, I reported, had tested positive. Now again, the government rushed to open schools. Now our children are being exposed to this disease, and Frank Anthony is yet to tell us scientifically with any proof that it's the Delta variant. It could be something else. We don't know what variant it is, and he isn't testing that because he said it is what it is when he was asked. So with that kind of reckless and callous approach, as parents, we decided to keep our children home because we have infections here in the region. A school had to be closed. We don't know how many children the child would have interacted with or the cleaner would have interacted with. So we keeping our children home.
All right.
With us.
People have to protect their kids, and we can't fault parents for doing that at all. All across the world, that's what happens. Even in schools in the U.S., you hear of a shutdown. You hear of a situation. Parents do become concerned, and if the situation gets out of hand, then you keep your kids away for a couple of days. It happens all over the world. And concerned parents, parents who really do care about their kids, will follow suit and be very cautious. Anything else?
If I may.
Sure, Mr. Sure, sir.
Yes. I checked with the COVID center here at Wisma. The Wisma Hospital was converted to our COVID center. I was there in person this morning out of interest. I want to know what's happening in our community. So I asked about the admittance, and they have 4 patients in there. 4. I also asked about the capacity here. And we have 20 odd beds, but only 4 of them are occupied. We do not wish for it to increase. But what we're going to do as residents is be responsible and keep ourselves indoors because the government has not adjusted the curfew hours or anything when they say there's a drastic spike. So in Region 10, as residents, we decided we're going to protect ourselves. But at the same time, we're going to appeal to each other to be most responsible. The underground parties and so on, we definitely are not going to have it because we don't intend to be further marginalized and discriminated against, given what the government is doing to us. So I just wanted the listeners to know that there are 4 patients in the hospital. We do not have an overrunning of the system. We do not have an overload of the system. But we do not wish to have any other bed occupied in this region. We're going to bring it down to 0, and we'll keep it that way.
Well said, Mr. Nigel London, all the way in Linden, talking to us via telephone. On one of your live broadcasts, you did mention something. You were calling out the mayor of Linden. Specifically, what were you addressing, sir? Here's an opportunity to do it on another forum.
Well, thank you. I was calling for the mayor and for those at the admin level to do what would have been done before, which is we seek to have the curfew hours in Linden adjusted to reflect the true nature of this situation, which is there's a spike in the country. We do not want that to happen. We're calling for them to re-implement measures to protect us as residents because the local government have given the right to do so. And we're calling for them to protect us. Reference to making decisions that would benefit the residents of Region 10, of Linden, and to ensure that we're safe, because it's obvious that the government intends to just go down one path, which is to drive tyranny, medical tyranny upon the people, and we're not going to accept it. So I call on the mayor, the Madam Mayor, to implement measures here at the local level to ensure that as residents we are safe and we are protected.
All right, well said, Apostle Nigel London on the phone with us all the way in Linden, Guyana. Quickly before we go, sir, just to make the point clear, I know you have said this umpteen times. You are not against the vaccine, but you're just against the forced vaccination, correct?
Thank you so much for asking, and I am also appreciative of the fact that people continue to reiterate that I have never once, never, ever, ever said that I'm against vaccination. I am against the policies that surround vaccination in Guyana. They are unconstitutional in their very nature. They are anti-people, coining a term, in their nature. They are destructive in their nature because they are driving tyranny in the hearts of people. It's hurting us economically. It is crippling us psychologically, and there is no medication in the world that is intended to hurt a person to this extent. Hence, I refuse to be forced, coerced, directly or indirectly into accepting anything if I think that my human right to reject is being taken from me. So I am not against vaccination. I have always said that people should consult with the medical practitioners, and even in that case, with those who are administering the vaccines, and I would like to let the listeners know that when persons are asked what is in the vaccine, the nurses cannot answer. Frank Anthony is doing an atrocious job at informing the public. They speak education, but not educating even those working in the vaccine sites. If you cannot tell us what is in the vial, how will be affected by it, what are the side effects of it in terms of long term if you don't have, then why should we trust your behavior if you don't even know what's in there? So we're not anti-vax. I'm not anti-vaccination. I'm anti-insanity.
Lots of insanity in the installed PPP regime. Lots of insanity, Mr. Nigel London. I am not forcing you off this show at all, because even if I attempt to force you off, I know you'll find a way to jump back on and say, Ben Shap, I'm not going to be forced to do anything. But is there anything that you want the listeners to know that I didn't ask? Here's your chance, sir.
Yes, please. Please, listeners, wherever you are in the country, wherever you are in the world, we are seeking as the citizens, not a political party. We are seeking as the people to have this entire nation shut down. We are going to hold our money until the government gives us some respect back. This is not a political action. This is a people action. We are calling on all Guyanese, all civic-minded Guyanese to understand that there is a crisis on hand that must be averted at all costs. So we are seeking to do the most peaceful thing, which is to remain in our homes or peacefully stand in the street. But the most effective, which would be to withhold our services and the money from this government. They are injuring us as people. Their actions are crushing the unity of the society, and we are not going to have it any longer. We are also in protest against the opposition, who have failed to stand for the constituents. We have not seen Mr. Harman take a public stance as definitive, a public stance in reference to him being present physically outdoor with his people. And so we are also in protest against the opposition. It is not a PPP protest area. This is about APNU, AFC, and the PPP civic. We are tired of your juvenile conduct. There should be conversations had among the two of them, between the two of them, to the benefit of Guyanese. So please, this is not one sensing against the PPP civic and that. So the people have all, with whom I've been in contact, have all expressed displeasure in the way that this is being handled in Guyana. We cannot have a crisis on our hand, and two political leaders are arguing as to who should affirm whom and who should be legitimate and who should be legitimate. This is ridiculous, and we need to have freedom to restore justice to people. I have also said today that there are 65 members of parliament, and of the 65 members, I'm yet to name 13 who spoke passionately to the rights of the people. When they were fighting over elections, everybody has something to say. Now they are most quiet. And our position as the people is that if you cannot speak for us, we shall hold you accountable just as we would the government. So everything should be shut down. People can give friends reported that they have a 90% decrease in business and in terms of persons entering the mall. We are shutting everything down. Businesses can open their doors just to pretend as if they're doing business, but we're not entering them because we want our freedom to be respected, and we want our freedom to be guaranteed or prioritized in this nation. We are losing it, and we don't intend to go anywhere.
All right, Mr. London, thank you so much for your time. Hopefully, we'll get you back sometime later on during the course of the night. I really appreciate and salute you guys, what you're doing. But what I've observed is that Mr. Harman, sorry about that, guys. Mr. Harman is away, but we see the acting opposition leader, Roysdale Ford seems to be very active. He's on the ground. He was at the COVID-19 hospital the other day. That's yesterday. He was on the ground with folks. He's in the protest with individuals. I'm seeing something that I actually do like. And after probably a long time, in terms of the protest and so forth, we are seeing people putting on boots and hitting the ground. Aubrey Norton hit the ground today. Good thing. And as soon as he hit the ground, he was arrested with 16 other persons. So at this point in time, I'm not going to put the rope around the neck of the opposition, because I see signs, and I'm seeing some good signs. And I want all the 31 or 30 opposition members of parliament to follow that sign, to come out, not just on their Facebook, social media, whatever, hit the streets. I saw some of them walking around Georgetown at the markets and so forth with the Mayor Obraj Narain, and I felt good. I want to see more of that, but not just in Georgetown. Go out into other areas, walk around in Corriverton Market, walk around in Port Morant Market because the people are feeling the squeeze, walk around in Parika Market, go in Linden, Mackenzie, walk around in Mackenzie Market, hold Nigel London hand and Mr. Thomas, Cleveland Thomas, and y'all walk around with these folks out in Linden as well, Kokwani, Ituni, other places. Nigel?
Yes.
You're laughing. You said that.
I'm happy that you.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm happy that you spoke to Mr. Ford's senior counsel presence, and that's what I'm speaking to here. The presence.
Yeah.
Mr. Ford is acting. Harman is the leader, and Harman is yet to redeem himself. If Mr. Ford is going to take this position, maybe Mr. Ford should be rendered the leader, the official leader of the opposition, because we want to see, or the people of what I'm hearing from want to see the leader take the fore. Because who knows when Harman returns, what will he do? Will he revert to the quiet posture of writing letters and memos? So I am not, or this should be encouraging. I will only be encouraged from an onlooker's perspective when the one who should be standing in the first place begins to stand. But I applaud the others who trying to do it, because remember we had two members of parliament, Figuera and David Sears. They were standing, but the leadership, the core, the tops.
We definitely have.
They were not present. So we want to see Harman.
We want to see all of them. All of them, the general secretary, the chairman, all of them, the acting leader, all of them. I agree with you. Thank you so much. Nigel London.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. Apostle Nigel London, all the way in Linden. We want to see them all. And I'm not going to pick a fight with the coalition now, because the fight is with the corrupt, the installed PPP regime. You know, we can't just be fighting everybody, cop this body, cop the body, cop. You're going to become tired. So I want to give the opposition the benefit of the doubt. I like some of the things that I'm seeing. I noticed the honorable acting opposition leader is out there, which is good. You know, I don't know. That's the kind of politics that I like. You know, and when I see those sort of things happening, I can't sit by and pretend that it doesn't happen. I got to give them credit for that, man, because I'm not here to score political points, mind you, right? I'm not here I'm not running for any office or whatever, but I want the best for the people. That is what I want. And if I notice that there are folks who are not coming out and they're not speaking, they're not representing their constituency, I don't care who they are. I'm going to call them out. But I like what I'm seeing with the opposition right now. Can they do more? Heck yes, they can do more. Do we want them to do more? Yes, we want them to do more. Are we optimistic that they will do more? I don't know. I hope it is not something where they're just coming out just for today's sake. But I doubt that. I still have some confidence and faith in them. I actually do. This may surprise some of them. You know, this may surprise some of them. I heard some of them when they were out in Brooklyn. They were doing their thing. They said that they were fired up. I want them to be fired up in Guyana too. Look, you guys see this? This is $6,000. If you have your money in your pocket, keep your money in your pocket. Don't spend your money. Don't spend your money. If you hold back your money for a couple of days, you will see that difference. And then, of course, they're going to rush out and they're going to say racism and all these racism because you're not spending your own money. Something that belongs to you, you're not spending your own money. And then they're going to get vexed because you're not spending your own money. Your own money? Hold back your money, man. You know, even if you want to send a little race for a relative back in Guyana, they got to show their vaccine card before they enter into MoneyGram or Western Union. I don't know. I don't know. How are you guys doing? I just don't know. What else can we talk about before I go? I just have a couple minutes remaining. Our executive producer has messaged me to say, hey, guess what? We've got to come off, right? But hey, look at this guy, some Shell Lumumba. We're talking serious matters, but I've heard situation like this. A guy out in Warlock, guy out from West Lemon and Junior from Warlock and these other people, and now Shell is saying here, I know a few persons having sexual issues from the vaccine. Where do these guys come up with these sort of comments from? All right, but I'm not going to get involved with that. I'm not going to get involved with that. You know, somebody, Cheryl Gills, is saying, call out your friend. You know, what is it with friend Granger? Because I don't throw Granger under the bus for y'all. He's your friend Granger. Aubrey Norton is my friend. Van West Charles is my friend. Tons of others are my friends. I call all of them out. Your friend Granger. Look your face, Cheryl, as you're making up your face. Your friend Granger. Call out your friend Granger. Call out your friend Granger. Cheryl Gills, you are correct. All of them should be called out. Friend or no friend, all of them. Don't get too sensitive, Cheryl. I agree with you. In fact, I agree with you. All of them should come out. All of them. And let me make up my face how Cheryl is saying, call out your friend. You must, look, you know, you must call out your friend Granger too. Please, Mark, call out your friend Granger. Call Granger. Cheryl, good afternoon to you, man. You're right. All of them need to be called out. Every single one of them, friend or no friend. Call them out. Call all of them out. They need to be out. They need to go out there and stand up for their folks, their supporters, stand up for Guyanese, because a lot of PPP supporters are struggling. A lot of PPP supporters are punishing as well. I'll get back to that, getting back to that guy who said that people who are using who have been vaccinated can do nothing. Hey, speak for yourself, man. I have been vaccinated with the Moderna vaccine, and them things don't visit me. That thing is not true when it comes to me. I don't know, maybe Bradford Burke, if he's fully vaccinated and that may apply to, I don't know. Or maybe some of the trenchies them, but some of them don't have to be vaccinated for that to happen to them. It just happens naturally. Hi, Anil. Good afternoon. Let me see here. We got folks. CDC said that there's no evidence the vaccine has sexual side effects based on studies so far. You see what I'm saying? Guyanese are quick into this thing here. As soon as you start talking about something of that nature, I just got this, and this is from a female, mind you. CDC said there is no evidence the vaccine has sexual side effects. I told y'all. It might have upside down effects, but not side effects. And who think this and who think that and who think this and who think I don't know. I'm not here for that, man. I'm not here for that. But look, I've got to go. I'll be back tomorrow. Tonight, sorry, at 9 o'clock. I will be back tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And the double dose of vaccine seems to be working. I love you guys. What's life sometimes with a little bit of humor, even though all that we are folks are going through in that country. A little bit of humor sometimes, it goes a long way. We've got to pray for that country. My heart goes out to all those people. And let us hope that somebody's asking, where is Doris? Let me see. Assuming that this is the Doris that they're talking about. Is this the Doris you're talking about? If that's the case, well, these people are running Guyana down to the ground, All right, so yes, I will be on tonight, and that vaccine and stuff making people a bit ticklish. But I'll tell you guys this: I took both doses of the vaccine, and everything is hunky dory, right? Nothing has been annihilated, nothing at all, hunky dory. So don't worry, folks. If you take the vaccine, I don't know, man. God, please help me, forgive me. Sometimes I get a little out of hand, and I gotta go. See you guys this evening at 9 o'clock sharp. Be safe, wear your mask. In fact, you shouldn't leave home without your mask, even though you're fully vaccinated. I am fully vaccinated and I wear my mask. And those of you who are not vaccinated at all, don't feel macho and walk around people without your mask and cough and wear your mask as well. Wear your mask, protect each other. I've got to go. See you tonight, 9 o'clock sharp. Bye-bye.
It's hard to be at peace with the ones who are so discard. It's hard. Them have a knife in your back and them smile it so broad. Help me to deal with the ones them who said them love me when them really don't. Help me to deal with the fans them kill me flesh when the crowd a shout. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Help me on the battlefield. Cause the booby traps with them set is real. I never want to take your glory, Lord. Send your angels to encamp around about me and stand guard. To envy is so easy and to love it is so hard. Let me work for your glory and not for the award. Don't make me ever get caught up in the scream and the applause and go talk about the blessing and not talk about the Lord. All these things are vanity. I need your reward. Let me be real. Don't put on no facade. Help me to deal with the ones them who said them love me when them really don't. Help me to deal with the fans them kill me flesh when the crowd a shout. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Help me on the battlefield. Cause the booby traps with them set is real. Sticks and stones can break my bones and words can harm me. They can harm me. When the evil come against me, you'll protect me. You'll protect me. Father, I need the strength of your son. Cause you know my work is not done. Lord, I need that endurance just to finish this race that I run. Help me to deal with the ones them who said them love me when them really don't. And help me to deal with the fans them kill me flesh when the crowd are shout. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Help me on the battlefield. Cause the booby traps with them set is real. You tell me if you stand firm, cause every little plan you have a confirm. I know them evil plan.